तव कथामृतम् तप्त जीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ओम तव कथामृतं तप्त जीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमंगलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we are in the conversations of 30 October 1885, and Thakur is talking to the doctor, and doctor sometimes is able to grasp, sometimes is unable to understand, sometimes, most of the times, unable to accept in toto. So that is going on. Lastly, Thakur has told him a story about Belur Math. And Belur Math's story is that he was attracted to a prostitute, and one day there was some Shraddha in his house, so he took the Shraddha Prasad and went to the prostitute after midnight, and there was a yogi in between, and so he walked on the body of the yogi, and yogi said that, "You have not seen? Are you blind?" He said, "Thinking of a prostitute, I lost my mind. And thinking of God even, you feel your body." That was one thing. And then we know further that it was night and there was something to climb up. In between there was a stream of water, and a crocodile was floating on that, and he thought it is a log of wood, and he climbed that and somehow reached the other bank. And then there was, I have to change this, it's proving troublesome anyway. Sometimes it proves troublesome. I'll just now give you. Where, what, I forgot. Okay.
Hello.
अरे क्लास सुरू झाला ना?
Hello.
हाँ.
बरोबर. नमस्कार करते मी 1 मिनिट बोलू शकते का?
क्लास सुरू झालाय क्लास. काय बरं? सेटिंग्स. Let it be like that. If it gets there, change. Okay. So we continue. There was a technical disturbance. Even now there is a technical disturbance. So please wait another minute. Now there will not be any problem. Okay. So we are listening to Belur Math's story, and there was a snake and he thought it is a rope put by his prostitute for him. And he climbed that. And when he reached the prostitute like that, she was surprised. And she told him that you are loving a prostitute so intensely. If even little less intensely you had loved God, you would have saved yourself. And by loving me as a prostitute, you are going down and down, that you don't realize. He immediately realized his mistake. And at that point, he addressed that prostitute, you are my guru. You have opened my eyes. And then he addressed her as mother. Mother cares for the child. And mother relation is exactly opposite to this man-woman paramour relation. And so that is the point Thakur stressed, that not only he told you are my guru, but he addressed her as mother. That means that sexual relation was lost in his mind, and his mind turned towards God, and that is why he addressed her as guru also. Now, doctor does not catch the drift of the point. Absolutely not. And so he only theoretically remembers, he has read many books, and so he says that we read now. From there, we are picking up. Dr. Sarkar, English page 917. Bengali 993. Doctor says, to address a woman as mother is the tantric form of worship. So he has read that, but he has not understood what is the tantric form of worship, nor did he catch the drift that Thakur is telling, that how the sexual attraction changed dramatically. And he addressed her as guru and also as mother. So that he does not catch at all. So now Thakur will tell him the difference between intellectual so-called understanding and the spiritual understanding, which immediately becomes operative. Thakur has given that example, that how that prostitute's words have made that man change his mind, and it became operative in him. And that is what Thakur wanted to tell. Doctor has understood the whole thing superficially, book only, and it has not at all influenced his mind. And so now, on this background, Thakur tells him some other story. Master, listen to a story. There was a king who used daily to hear the Bhagavata recited by a Pandit. Every day after explaining the sacred book, the Pandit would say to the king, "O king, have you understood what I said?" And every day the king would reply, "You had better understand it first yourself." The king had a definite message. He liked to hear Bhagavatam because he was a sadhak. And though he was a king, he was listening to Bhagavatam. But when the Pandit said, "Have you understood?" King understood that the Pandit has not understood himself. And so he said, first understand yourself, then the Pandit would return home and think, why does the king talk to me that way day after day? I explain the text to him so clearly, and he says to me, you had better understand it first yourself. So I'm explaining clearly. Does it not mean I have understood? No. Explaining clearly, as I am doing now, is only an intellectual perception. So you are able to explain clearly. What does he mean? The Pandit used to practice spiritual discipline. So the Pandit also, along with his scholarship, had sadhana also. And so he evolved. By that sadhana he evolved. A few days later he came to realize because of that sadhana. And because the king was pointing out, but mainly due to that sadhana. The Pandit, a few days later, he came to realize that God alone is real and everything else, house, family, wealth, friends, name and fame, illusory. So that is the message in all scriptures, whether it is Bhagavad or Gita or this or that the main is to realize God is the only reality, all else. And all else details are being given, not in general all else. And so, house, family, wealth, friends, name and fame, illusory. Convinced of the unreality of the world, he renounced it. As he left home, he asked a man to take this message to the king. O king, I now understand. So he did not go to the king at all because he was getting some name and fame and some money there. But now, due to his sadhana, he understood that the meaning is God is real, everything is illusory, and so that became operative in his life. And he went. Now he has to send a message to the king that from tomorrow I shall not come. That was essential. So he sent a message. And in that, he sent this message that you are telling me every day. So now I have understood. So the real understanding of the scriptures means God is real, everything else is unreal, and so follow God. Not that only this also is intellectually understood and explained. No. This becomes operative. Vivek leads to Vairagya. Then that is real Vivek. And Vairagya has pulled him away from the world and he has gone to do tapasya for realizing God. Here is another story. A man needed a scholar of the Bhagavata to expound its sacred text to him every day. A king is not there a man, but he wanted some Pandit. But it was very difficult to procure such a scholar who can explain every day. After he had searched a great deal, another man came to him and said, Sir, I have found an excellent scholar of the Bhagavad. Very well, said the man, bring him here. The other man replied, but there is a little hitch. The scholar has a few plows and bullocks. He is busy with them all day. He must look after the cultivation of his land. He hasn't a moment's leisure. He can explain, but he has no time to explain. That is the hitch. Thereupon the man who required this scholar said, I don't want a Bhagavata scholar who is burdened with plows and bullocks. I want a man who has leisure and tell me about God. So here also, same thing, that is busy. That means he takes the world to be real. And what can he explain? So if a man wants to explain, he should have got the spirit. And I want such a man who has got the spirit to explain it to me because I want to learn the scriptures. I am already having some understanding, but by listening to scriptures, my spiritual hankering will grow and I will realize God. That is why I want to listen. But that man, should I realize it? Should I realize that the world is unreal? He should not be busy with plows and bullocks. So, same message in a different way has been conveyed by both the stories. And then Thakur asked the doctor, do you understand? Do you understand the spirit of what I have been telling you? Dr. Sarkar remained silent. So either he understood, let's say, little, or became contemplative, introspective to find out what Thakur is telling and how he should understand that. So he became silent. Master. The master is continuing. He wants to impress upon the doctor the unreality of the world, and only God is real, and one's whole life should be concentrated on realizing God. This he wants to tell him. Master, shall I tell you the truth? What will you gain by mere scholarship? The Pandits hear many things and know many things. The Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras, because he had talked of Tantras. But of what avail is mere scholarship? Discrimination and renunciation are necessary. So the basis of spiritual life, whether you are a bhakta or a jnani or a tantra or whatever, karmi, yogi, is vivek and vairagya. If a man has discrimination and renunciation, then one can listen to him. So he is referring to that thing also. Doctor said, listen to me. And Thakur said, why should I listen to you? You have greed and lust and hankering for name and fame, money. If a man has discrimination and renunciation, then one can listen to him. But of what use are the words of a man who looks on the world as an essential thing? So this is what Thakur told that time also, and now more forcefully again. What is the lesson of the Gita? It is what you get by repeating the word 10 times. As you repeat Gita, Gita, the word becomes reversed into Tagi, Tagi, which implies renunciation. In Bengali, Tyagi and Tagi are almost pronounced similarly. So Tagi becomes Tagi, renunciation. He alone has understood the secret of the Gita, who has renounced his attachment to woman and God. So Thakur does not say whether household or sannyasi, but he has given attachment to enjoyment and means of enjoyment, and has directed his entire love to God, entire love. Because something in the mind, the love will not be real. It isn't necessary to read the whole of the Gita. The purpose of reading the book is served if one practices renunciation. So that again should become operative. And you have to practice that Tyagi. Then you need not read the full Gita. Gita's message is Tyagi. Gita's message renounce. Now that renunciation may sometimes be in the mind for a householder and total outside also for a sannyasi, but renunciation, discrimination and renunciation has to be there for everything about the world. Dr. Sarkar, now he has missed this point totally. And like a fool, he is distorting, like a fool. Dr. Sarkar, a man once explained the meaning of Radha to me with pure imagination. Nobody will talk like that. He is just diverting from that talk. He said to me, do you know the meaning of Radha? Reverse the word and it becomes Dhara. Dhara has no meaning whatsoever. Dhara means a stream of water. What has that to go? Tyagi means renunciation. Doctor is nonsense like talk. As either he has not understood, or he has not followed the spirit, or he does not want to listen further and is diverting the talk at all. That is the meaning. All laugh. They understand that foolishness. Well, let us stop here for today. So that is the main thing. He does not want to listen further. Dr. Sarkar left. So he had spent sufficient time with Thakur. Though he is attracted, he spends a lot of time but that he cannot do indefinitely. His business also is there. He is attached to that business also. All this is conveyed because he diverted and left. He stopped it and left. M sat near Sri Ramakrishna and repeated the conversation he had had at Dr. Sarkar's house in the morning. M had gone to doctor in the morning, and there they had the conversation. Now, doctor came, and when doctor went, for many hours he was there, and when he went back, Master Mashai got time to convey what he had talked in doctor's house. M. Dr. Sarkar was feeding the goldfish with cardamom shells and the sparrows with flour pellets. He said to me, "Did you notice? The fish didn't see the cardamom shells and therefore went away. First of all, we want knowledge and then bhakti." So that is the lesson he drew from the fish going away from cardamom shells, because they did not know it is their food, and so they went away. So unless you know, you cannot have devotion. That is doctor's intellectual inference. Do you notice those sparrows? They too flew away when I threw the pellets of flour. They have no jnana, therefore they have no bhakti. So completely he thinks like that. First you should have jnana, then you will get bhakti. In the first case, they have no jnana, so no bhakti. In the second case, they may have or may not have jnana, but no bhakti, because that is their food and they have not taken it. So these worldly arguments, worldly examples, worldly analogies, he told Master Masha in the morning. Master smiling. That knowledge means the knowledge of the physical world, the knowledge of science. So Thakur immediately got it. That knowledge that this is my eatable, that knowledge that this I could have eaten, that is worldly knowledge. Real spiritual knowledge is not a subject-object knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is to take us away from subject-object relationship. And he said further, must I believe a thing simply because a Chaitanya or a Buddha or a Christ has said it? That would not be proper. There, Master Masha had pointed out, and should we listen because some Faraday has said it? So these people are at least people of experience, and Faraday is a man of the word. So he had shown to the doctor the anomaly of his thinking. A grandson has been born to him. He praised his daughter-in-law highly. He said, I don't notice her at all in the house. She is so quiet and bashful. So this is a worldly good quality. But he is attached to the master. He has been thinking of this place, meaning himself. His faith is growing. Is it possible to get rid of egotism altogether? So Thakur finds that egotism is reducing. He finds the process that is attracted to him, spirituality, and faith is growing in him. Is it possible to get rid of egotism altogether? And he points out those things because of which the egotism is there. Such scholarship, such fame, and he has so much money, but he doesn't show disrespect for what I say. So this much is there. Sometimes he misquotes, sometimes he throws away, but he does not show disrespect for what I say. This also shows that Thakur is not disturbed even by doctor's nonsensical interpretation, though he points out to him every time what is the right thing. But in his own mind, he is not disturbed. He does not feel insulted. any reaction does not come to him. That is another great aspect of spiritual progress, spiritual fulfillment. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The devotees were sitting quietly in the room. Many outsiders also were present. All sat in silence. Now this is after a gap. So that thing is over. Another scene, though date is same. M was seated very near Sri Ramakrishna. Now and then they exchanged a word or two in a low voice. That means privately to him. The master wanted to put on his coat. M helped him. Because October, it is getting cold already, and Thakur's delicate health. Master to him, you see, nowadays it is not necessary for me to meditate much. All at once have become aware of the indivisible Brahman. So if he starts meditating, he reaches Brahman. That has become his practice, mind's nature. Nowadays, the vision of the Absolute is continuous with me. That is always there. By talking and all that, if it is disturbed a little, as I start meditating, it comes back. M did not reply. There was nothing to reply here. The room was full of men, all silent. So they are looking at Thakur. Presently, Sri Ramakrishna spoke, Master, well, all these people are sitting here without uttering a word. Their eyes are fixed on me. They are neither talking nor singing. What do they see in me? Thakur is checking Master Mahashaya's knowledge or understanding. M said to the Master, Sir, they have already heard many things you have said. Now they are seeing what they can never see anywhere else. So this seeing a man of God is a great sadhana. Hearing is definitely a sadhana, but seeing is a greater sadhana. Now they are seeing what they can never see anywhere else. A man always blissful, of childlike, he is enumerating, a man always blissful, of childlike nature, free from egotism and intoxicated with divine love. 4 things he has talked about. 4 things, spiritual life. Always blissful. Because God is blissful by nature and he has realized God. Childlike nature, no ego, no attachment, free from egotism, that itself is also child, like child, and intoxicated with in love. So beyond human level, on a different level, that is the spiritual man. And that people are seeing. They have heard, now they are seeing. The other day you were pacing the outer room of Ishan's house. We too were with you. A man came to me and said he had never before seen such a happy person as you. So, walking, but one who observes, that joy inside radiates. And those who have little receptivity, they can feel it. So the man, some stranger may be, but seeing at you, he told me he had never seen such bliss, such joy. Happy person as you. M became silent. Having told this, he became silent. The room was still. Nobody was talking in that room. A few minutes later, Sri Ramakrishna spoke to him in a whisper. That means to him only. Master, well, how is the doctor coming along? Does he now receive well the ideas of this place? Receive well the ideas of this place. Does he do it now? M. How can an effective seed fail to sprout? So your things are potent with spiritual energy. They will have to sprout sometime. It must germinate some or other. I feel like laughing when I remember what you said the other day. Master, What was that? So every time you want to check correctly. M. You said that Jadu Malik was so absent-minded that while taking his meals, he didn't know whether a particular dish was seasoned with salt or not. If anyone pointed out to him that a dish was not salted, he would say in a surprised voice, yes, yes, I see it is not salted. So I had no mind, absent-mindedness. You told this to the doctor because he had said to you that he was always absent-minded. Master Masha understands very properly. And that day we had not heard this salt and all that. Huh? Master Masha had heard carefully. You meant that he became absent-minded, thinking of worldly things and not because of contemplation of God. Master, will you not pay attention to what I say? I've been telling all these things. Will you not sometime pay attention? Not today, then tomorrow? Of course he will. But he forgets many of your instructions because of his numerous duties. So everything that you say, he will not remember. But something at least he will remember and he will have to follow it. Today too, he made a nice remark when he said, to look on a woman as mother is a spiritual discipline of the Tantra. So that remark was nice. Showed that he had some memory of the what he has read in Tantra. But he did not catch the spirit. So, Master asking, will he not pay attention to? No. Master, what did I say to that? That means I had clarified that. You told him about that Bhagavata scholar who owned bullocks and plows. The master smiles. Further, you told him about the king who said to the... So, second story is referring first and then the first story. Further, you told him about the king who said to the Pandita Bhagavata, you had better understand it yourself first. The master smiled. He understands that Master Masha has caught the spirit. Then you told him about the Gita, whose essence is the renunciation of woman and God, renunciation of this attachment to woman and God. So, woman and gold attachment, woman and gold renunciation, renunciation to the attachment to woman and gold. That means he may live in the house, but he is not attached. That second interpretation Master Masha gives. You said to him, how can a worldly man who has not renounced woman and gold teach others? So, worldly man, not man in the householder, but a worldly man. So, he has not given up woman and gold. And how can teach? He has no experience. Perhaps he didn't understand the drift of your words. He changed the subject. And perhaps he puts whether he wanted to go to his house or he did not understand the drift of your talk, that Gita becomes Tyagi. He nonsensically talked of Radha. So that thing is over now. Sri Ramakrishna was thinking about the welfare of his devotees, especially the young children. Purna and Manindra were two of his young devotees. He sent Manindra to talk to Purna. By talking to each other, they will gather more strength. It was evening. A lamp was burning in Shri. So this is further separate. A lamp was burning in Sri Ramakrishna's room. The devotees and visitors were sitting at a distance. The master was introspective. Those in the room were also thinking of God and sat in silence. Here, introspection means merging in God. A few minutes afterwards, Narendra entered the room with a friend whom he introduced to the master as an author. Sri Ramakrishna talked with him about the metaphysical significance of Radha and Krishna. Because he is an author, so Thakur is talking him Radha and Krishna as a metaphysical, not worldly, metaphysical meaning. The author said that Radha and Krishna were the supreme Brahman. Vishnu, Shiva, Durga and the other deities had sprung from them. So that is one interpretation. Radha and Krishna are the original God, and other gods whom we know has sprung from them. What? They are supreme Brahman. Vishnu, Shiva, Durga and the other deities are, so the others are deities. And that is his understanding, emphasis on one aspect. Master, that is good. There are different aspects of Radha. So about Radha is sharing some more details. In her seductive aspect, she was the Chandravali. Kamarada, Premarada, Nityarada. So Chandravali is one of the gopis, and Thakur is telling she also is Radha, because she also is loving Krishna, but that love has Kama, the lust included in that. That is also a form of Radha, because ultimately that love for God will lead her to Mukti. In her aspect of love, she participated in Shri Krishna's Leela at Vrindavan. Nanda Ghosh, Krishna's foster father, had the vision of the eternal Radha, Nitya Radha. Nitya Radha is consciousness only. So, Krishna's foster father Nanda had a vision of that. So, blessed were those people. The second he has not mentioned here, first and third, now he mentions. First is the seductive Radha, then the Radha of love. If you go further, you will see the eternal Radha. So these are the intermediate steps. First passions, but directed to God, then unselfish love, which is really called love, pure attraction. And then that will lead you to beyond the reality. It is like taking off the layers of an onion one by one. First the red layer, then the pink, then the white. Afterwards, you don't find any more layers. So I will vanish totally in the Nitya Radha. Such is the nature of the eternal Radha, Radha the absolute. There the discrimination following the process of Niti, not this, comes to an end. Not this is not real, this is not my real nature. So when it ends, you are not there, only one reality is there, that is Nitya Radha. There are two aspects of Radha Krishna. Because he is an author and he can understand, so Thakur explaining this in different ways. There are two aspects of Radha Krishna, the absolute and the relative. Absolute Radha Krishna are one reality, appearing as two. And relative means they appear as two and so they love each other. The absolute may be likened to the sun and the relative to the rays. So this is a beautiful analogy, huh? Swamiji in his poem on the creation has said, the same is sun and it is the sun's rays. The sun is real and the rays are nothing but the sun's rays. And in the next line, it is the sun and the sun itself is the rays. So these are two stages. that I belong to God, and then I am not there. I am not different from God. So this Thakur has told. So absolute may be likened to the sun and the relative to the rays. A genuine bhakta dwells sometimes on the absolute and sometimes on the relative. Now, some people tell me, you have said, Thakur says, ordinary bhakta says that I want to taste sugar, I do not want to become sugar. But Thakur has not used the word ordinary. How do you say that? Here is the explanation. There Thakur might not have said ordinary, but here is talking of real bhakta. And so that is not fully real bhakta. That is ordinary bhakta. Because here the real bhakta stays sometimes in the absolute. He loses his eye consciousness. And sometimes he appears to be loving God. A genuine bhakta dwells sometimes on the absolute and sometimes on the relative. Both the absolute and the relative belong to one and the same reality. So that is another thing. Nirgun, Sagun, Brahma are not two realities. The Nirgun in sport, or when we take the world to be having some reality, then Nirgun becomes Sagun. That which is beyond is also within. That which is beyond is also the creator, preserver, and destroyer. That which is beyond also likes to play sport with devotees. So if they are the same, it is all one, neither two nor many. If there are no two, many means the manifold world. Two means God and devotee, but they are not two. They are beyond two, beyond one and two. Author, sir, why do they speak of the Krishna of Vrindavan and the Krishna of Mathura? He is asking a question. Huh? Krishna played with the gopis in Vrindavan and he did his duty as a king in Mathura. So they show the difference. Two types of sports in Krishna's life, both for dharma sthapana. Master, that is the view of the Goswamis. But the scholars of Upper India think differently. So the Goswamis may not like that Krishna. But Upper India means, I have explained, UP, North India, think differently. According to these scholars, there is only Krishna and no Radha. The Krishna of Dwaraka is not associated with Radha. So, Vrindavan, Mathura and Dwaraka. Dwaraka, Krishna went because Jarasandha was attacking Mathura again and again, 17 times or 90, so many times. And Krishna was defeating him. But he was coming back more force, and that is, Krishna said to Balaram, automatically, all the bad people are coming here. But then, once he said, I'll burn Mathura if you don't release Krishna to me. So Krishna thought, enough of this fighting. Let us go far distance. So he carried all the people of Vrindavan, Mathura, and went to Dwaraka, seashore in Gujarat, and there also, on an island-like small place, he built his new capital. Now there is no Radha there. Vrindavan and Mathura, Radha is still there. In Vrindavan, though Krishna is in Mathura, but in Dwaraka, the very thought of Radha has gone. So that is how the North Indian Pandits feel. So Krishna can be looked upon differently. The Krishna of Dwarka is not associated with Radha. Author, sir, Radha and Krishna are themselves the supreme Brahman. So that is one view. Thakur has already told. Master, that is good, but you must remember that everything is possible for God. So don't stick to only one view. Everything is possible for God. That is good, but everything is possible for God. He is formless, and again he assumes forms. That is the main thing. He is the individual and he is the universe. All individuals are also he, and the universal also is he. Two types of sports. He is Brahman and he is Shakti. Shakti, power to appear as this world. There is no end to him, no limit. Nothing is impossible for him. No matter how high the kites and the vultures soar, they can never strike against the ceiling of the sky. Sky has no limit. That is what Thakur is telling. Let the vultures fly, they cannot strike at the ceiling. If you ask me what Brahman is like, all I can say is that it cannot be described in words. That is the only description. Even when one has realized Brahman, one cannot describe it because talking stops, I dissolves. If someone asks you what ghee is like, your answer will be ghee is like ghee. The only analogy for Brahman is Brahman. Nothing exists beside it, so how can there be an analogy? So we proceed. Saturday, October 31, 1885, Hari Vallabh Bose, a cousin of Balram, came to see Sri Ramakrishna. He saluted the master respectfully. Hari Vallabh was the government leader at Cuttack. He did not approve of Balram's visiting the master, especially with the ladies of the family. Balram had said to his cousin, "You had better meet him first, then you can say whatever you like. You see the person, then will you stop the ladies from going to him?" Because he has no man-woman consciousness. Presently, the master and Hari Vallabh became engaged in conversation. Master, can you tell me how I shall get well? Do you think this is a serious illness? So Thakur wants to talk with him from lower to higher to test him how it is like him. Hari Vallabh, sir, the doctors can tell you better than I about that. So I'm not interested, I'm not intelligent enough on this plane. Master, when the woman take the dust of my feet, so he comes to that point immediately. When the woman take the dust of my feet, I say to myself that they are saluting God who dwells inside me. I look at it in that way. So that criticism about woman, Thakur is telling his attitude that they are seeing God in me, they are not seeing a man in me. I look at it that way. Hari Vallabh, you are a holy man. All should take the dust of your feet. What harm is there in that? Even the ladies. Master, you may speak that way about sages like Dhruva, Prahlada, Narada or Kapila. But who am I? So Thakur shows modesty, humbleness to test his view. He says holy man. But Thakur talks of holy men of the highest order. So am I like that? And he says, please come again. So by repeatedly coming, you will understand Thakur more. Hari Vallabh, I shall certainly come because you attract me. Aha. So he is a good person, devotee, he has become attracted. You don't have to urge me. You don't have to tell you come to me. I will definitely come. The attraction has been felt. Hari Vallabh was about to depart. He saluted Sri Ramakrishna and was going to take the dust of the master's feet when Sri Ramakrishna moved his feet away, testing. But Hari Vallabh persisted. He took the dust of Sri Ramakrishna's feet against the latter's wish. So this is all test. When he stood up, the master stood up too, to show honor to him, to show him courtesy. The master said to him, Balram feels unhappy because I don't go to his house. I thought of visiting you all there one day. You all one day. But then I was afraid you might say to Balram, who asked him to come here? Again and again, through negative talk, he is taking out what the Balram's cousin will say, and he'll change that. Harivallam, who has been telling you things? Please don't let such a thought enter your mind. So Harivallam has in Leela Prasanga this has been introduced more that Balram felt danger that Harivallam may say, you don't stay in Calcutta. But now, and because of that, Balram was feeling little obstructed in his sadhana, but Thakur changed him totally and made Balram free from anxiety. That was the main thing. Harivallam departed. Master to him, he is a devotee of God. Why else should he have forcibly taken the dust of my feet? I told you the other day that in Samadhi, I had seen Dr. Sarkar and another person. He is the other person. So he has come. So Thakur had already seen him that he will come. Dr. Sarkar, he had seen that a seed is there, he will germinate afterwards. And this person he had seen is a devotee and he will come to me. Yes, sir, undoubtedly he is a bhakta. Master, I know how guileless he is. So that is the test of genuine devotion, guilelessness. M went to Dr. Sarkar's house to report Sri Ramakrishna's condition. The doctor talked to him about Sri Ramakrishna, Mahimacharan and the other devotees. Doctor, Mahimacharan didn't bring the book he promised to show me. He said he had forgotten all about it. It is quite possible. I am forgetful also. So in the world they understand him. He had read a great deal. Mahimacharya had gone on reading and reading and reading. Doctor, then why is he in such a plight? Ankar and all that. Referring to the master, the doctor said, what will a man accomplish with mere bhakti? He needs jnana too, as if Thakur lacks in jnana. M. Why? The master says that bhakti comes after jnana. But his conception of jnana and bhakti is quite different from yours. This is not worldly knowledge or worldly attraction. When he says that one obtains bhakti after jnana, he means that first comes the knowledge of reality and then bhakti. First the knowledge of Brahman and then bhakti. First the knowledge of God and then love for him. So many words he is using for emphasizing, clarifying. When you speak of jnana, you mean the knowledge obtained through the senses. The jnana Sri Ramakrishna speaks of cannot be verified by our standards. The knowledge of reality cannot be tested by the knowledge obtained through the senses. But your jnana, the knowledge through the senses, can be verified by senses, other man's senses. The doctor remained silent. Then he referred to the subject of divine incarnation. So these are certain points which the doctor is not able to bring about in his mind. Doctor, what is the idea of divine incarnation? What is this taking the dust of a man's feet? That is a canker in his mind. Why you say that during your experiments in laboratory, you go into ecstasy when you think of God's creation? Further, you feel the same emotion when you think of man. If that is so, why shouldn't we bow our heads before God God dwells in the heart of man. So, doctor's own argument, Master Mashek tells, but with doctor, it is only a bhav. He has not realized that. According to Hinduism, God dwells in all beings. You have not studied this subject much. You have not, Master Master has become bold now to say, you have not studied deeply the Hindu scriptures. Since God dwells in all beings, what is wrong in saluting a man on that level also? Sri Ramakrishna says that there is a greater manifestation of God in certain things than in others, as the sun is reflected better by water and by a mirror than by other objects. So Thakur has a right analogy for all the spiritual things also. Water exists everywhere. Water exists everywhere, but is more apparent in a river or lake. We bow down to God and not to man. God is God, not man is God. God is God, not man is God. So God is there in that man. We are not saluting a man. God cannot be known through reasoning. All depends on faith. Of course, I am repeating it to you what Sri Ramakrishna said. So Master Maharaj clarifies, it's not my talk, it is Sri Ramakrishna's talk. Dr. Sarkar presented him with one of his books, The Physiological Basis of Psychology. He wrote on the first page as a token of brotherly regards. Okay, so we stop here. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning, so a different thing is coming. Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriditam Kalmashapam Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhui Grunanti Ye Bhuridajana Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Oh